Let's go to Stephanie, who's on the line in Alexandria, Louisiana. Stephanie, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken.
Hi, Stephanie. How are you?
Thank you for taking my call.
Sure. How can I help today?
So I am basically, I have a couple of choices in front of me, and I'm about to turn 30. And so I'm kind of in that position of feeling like, okay, I really need to know what I'm doing. I'm just feeling that pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So I did go to school like 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I have about 35 hours under an education degree.
Mm-hmm.
And I also am going in on Thursday because I have been offered a caregiving position that I could work part-time and move up to full-time.
Okay.
And I also have just started a podcast.
Good for you. Way to go.
Yeah.
What's the podcast about? I got to know.
It is mainly geared toward women, and then like youth. I just want to chat with women about the Lord and just kind of see what's up and what's going on in their world.
Okay, so is this an interview podcast where you're interviewing other women locally?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, yes.
Good for you. Way to go.
Yeah.
I just wanted to interrupt for a moment to say way to go, because I want the best advice I could give somebody who's thinking about a podcast is just to start it. Who cares?
Right.
Who cares what? Like just get it out there and then fix it. It just doesn't
Right.
matter. It's just let me ask you a real quick question for the rest of our audience. What did it feel like when you actually launched it? Tell me what your emotions were.
Oh, I mean, obviously nerves, but excitement, and it really, I felt fulfillment in it.
Yeah, you did. You did
Almost,
something that mattered to you. You did something that mattered. All right.
Yes.
So let's stay on track. So what's your question for me? I know where you are now, and I interrupted you. Mm-hmm. You just launched a podcast, which, by the way, that is pretty much immaterial to the rest of our conversation. You keep doing that. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So what are we asking about today?
I guess my main question is, how do I know? I want to choose the right path, but how do I know how to support a child in like a 9-to-5 job or going back to school? I don't have children yet, but I do want to foster.
Yeah. Well, are
so
you
that's
married?
kind of like my.
Are you married?
I'm not married. No.
Well, you're getting you're okay. I love your spirit and I love your heart, and that's an awesome thing, and you need to hold that close, and there's going to come a season when you will foster. So why don't you just leave it at that? There is so the mindset for you is, Stephanie, there is a season coming where I will foster. Period.
Right.
Period. Leave it there. You're worried about something you should not be worried about right now.
Okay.
You're thinking about the wrong stuff. The question is, what is it that you really want to do? You told me at the start of the phone call you had a couple decisions before you. One of which is, do you take this caregiver role, or do you go back and finish your education degree? All that stuff is fine, but I want to know why you really called me. And the answer to that is, what is it that you really want to do?
I really want to do the podcast.
Well, good. Okay, but you can't do that full time right now. So so then that changes everything. So so how much money do you think you're going to need to make? Fast forward down 3-5 years from now in order to be able to support a child. What is that number for you?
At least in between 12 to 15 an hour.
Yeah. Okay. So you got to run that number. You don't even know what that number is. What's that number in a given year? What's $12, $15 an hour? What is that?
Well, I know 11 is like 21,000.
Okay. You're not going to be able to support a foster child and you'll get paid by the state. So if that's what you want to do only and be a foster, then the state does provide money for that. Okay. But $21,000 is just way too low for you.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So this is not fun for me, Stephanie, but I've got to be really, really honest with you.
No, I want you to be.
It's going to be a while before you can make that kind of money as a podcaster.
Okay.
All right? It just is. And let me tell you something. Do you know how to make money as a podcaster? It's not a trick question. If you don't, just tell me.
Right. Well, I've looked it up. I've done my research.
What's the answer? How do you make money as a podcaster? I know the answer. I want to hear you say it.
I think that it's sponsorships and
yes,
getting out there.
Yeah, well, no, it's just sponsorships. Like, you got to have a big enough audience that sponsors are willing to pay.
Right.
And then here's the other thing. Just because you have an audience big enough to get an advertiser doesn't mean they stay with you. They come and they go. Because their product, their message may not connect with your audience. They may be a flash in the pan company that tries to advertise for a little bit, then they're gone. It is a volatile situation. So I'm going to tell you, you need to adjust your mindset that your podcast is a passion only.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is you have a day job, and that's your fun dream job that if it goes somewhere and it takes off, rock and roll. We're excited. But I think it is unhealthy expectation for you to believe that that's going to provide the money that you need to make in the next 3, 4, 5 years. Now, listen, it could blow up, and I hope it does. But that's not your plan. Your plan is, I'm going to trust Ken, and I'm going to treat this like a hobby that I'm super passionate about, that I want to help women in my zip code. And if they start sharing it and I start to develop a national audience, man, that's great. Awesome. We'll adjust when we get there. But it is not your, it is not going to supply your needs. You need a good full-time job, and then you keep doing the podcast on the side. And I think to the extent that you can figure out more about your voice and what the message is, what need do you most want to solve for these women, you need to answer that. Not right now. I'm not going to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
But you need to be able to say, I am doing this podcast to do this, and fill it in. But the answer is, how do I want to serve women that are listening? What problem am I trying to solve for them? Or what solution am I trying to provide? You have to be crystal clear, or else it's just going to be a bunch of conversations. You got to know what moves your heart. Why do you want to help these women? Who do you specifically want to help? What are they, single? Are they single moms? You got to know. And that's how you get traction. So go get the really good paying job. And then I would also consider, what are some other ways that you can help that audience besides just podcasting? Maybe some blogging. Maybe you consider doing a local event. You're single, you can get a good paying job and save up some money and really start to do some things and test some things, all cash, and you don't get hurt, and you just begin to throw some things against the wall. All within the wall being, I'm trying to help these specific women this specific way.